good?
Yep.
Welcome to the April 17th meeting of the Weare Board of Selectmen. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We had a non-public from 6 o'clock until 6:30, a little after. The reason for the non-public was to begin discussions about the chief's contract if he continues with us. So that's the reason for the non-public. And a few other police personnel things came up. Department head items. Reappoint as a full member to Parks and Recreation, Melissa Drury. So Melissa, could you please? We have a standard question, and that is, what keeps you in for the long haul here? Why is this important enough for you to continue?
As I said the last time, I often ask myself that question. It's a lot of work, but I guess whenever I do something, I always want to make sure it's better than when I got there, and that is an ongoing process, and I'm thankful for the people that are on the board right now helping with that. Could always use more hands, but for now, I'll continue.
Are you at full staff as far as your?
No,
You
we
still
haven't
have
been
empty
for
slots?
a long time,
You haven't.
about 3 years.
How many are on the board now? The commission. How many are on the commission, and how many empty slots do you have?
6, including myself.
3 spots left.
So you put a plug in for anybody, and maybe you have it in the minutes that we are looking for additional members of the Parks and Recreation Commission. Anybody have questions for Melissa? It's just so easy, isn't it?
Yeah, too easy.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we reappoint Melissa Drury as a full member of the Parks and Rec Committee.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I don't have something for her to sign though. I didn't do it.
Isn't that what this is?
Oh yeah, who gave it to you?
It's on the stack right there. Must have come from you.
It didn't come from me. Somebody else bypassed me, but that's okay.
Oh.
Not
Well, since I have
surprising.
it, we can swear you in.
That's true.
I didn't deny it.
Okay, if you would just raise your right hand. Look it over there.
Good idea.
So you want the sir. I, Melissa Drury,
I, Melissa Drury,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear and affirm
I will faithfully and impartially
I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform all the duties
discharge and perform all the duties
incumbent on me
incumbent on me
as Parks and Recreation Commission member
as Park and Recreation Commission member,
according to the best of my abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
agreeable to the rules and regulations
agreeable to the rules and regulations
of the Constitution and the law of the state of New Hampshire.
of the Constitution and the law of the state of New Hampshire.
So
So help me God.
God, this chair's driving me nuts.
I need your signature.
Yeah. She can come over here, you guys. Thank you. What's that?
Okay, you want to do it before we start with Benji's bits?
Nice, he gets booted like that. No, just kidding.
Well, it just all
Thank you,
fits.
Tom.
Thank you. Visual aids.
Karen Stogner from Park and Recreation. So I've handed everyone a Chase Park admission fee overview of what we have and what we're proposing. We talked about the admission fees at our last meeting, which was prompted by an email from a veteran senior citizen non-resident who inquired as to whether or not there are any benefits or reduction in rates for any veterans or non-resident seniors. He rents he's out of state, rents a campground in New Boston, and has a boat that he'd like to launch on Chase Park. So that prompted us talking about if we were going to consider any sort of rate reduction for the individual. And we decided we don't want to do that on a case-by-case basis. That's a little too difficult. So we discussed, and the changes that we're proposing are in bold. It's pretty much under the non-residents where it's senior 60 plus and down. So what we're proposing is a reduction, a $2 reduction for seniors for beach access daily. It's bringing that down to $3. And a $10 reduction per boat or jet ski daily, bringing that down to $20. For veterans, we're proposing the same, all veterans, resident, non-resident. As you know, sometimes people come and they don't want to buy a season pass, they just like to visit once or twice during the summer and, you know, don't want to have them incur the same sort of fee. We're also proposing a possible beach season pass for any abutting towns to Weare. We would propose $30 per car for the season for the towns of Deering, Henniker, Hopkinton, Dunbarton, Goffstown, Francistown, and New Boston. Everything else is the same that's currently on the town website. I don't know what we would need to do to go from there to implement it. If you guys need to talk about it and let me know, or how you.
So a question that I would, if we look at the veterans portion, there could be, just my opinion, could be some confusion because here you're really looking at it as day visitors, whether they're from in town or out. If you're a day visitor, this is the rate, $3 for your pass.
Right.
The veteran wouldn't have any, the residence pass would apply in the same way, veterans or not. There would be no change there.
That's true. I don't think did we talk about that? I don't think we talked about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty reasonable anyways. $10 a year is pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
But just, it may need some clarification, that's all, as far as, so it doesn't look like they're gonna charge me $3 a day now?
Oh,
You know what I mean?
well, right. Yeah. Well, if you're a resident and not a veteran, you get charged the $5 per day. If you don't want to buy a season pass. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So if you.
It does say daily access. Maybe just saying for those local veterans who don't have a season pass. Something to clarify, that's all. I'm not really questioning your
Okay,
proposal. Just
Right.
make sure it's clear.
okay.
Questions or comments from any board members? I think that my opinion, because the season beach pass for the surrounding towns the question that I would have is, would that lead to a lot of crowding? Because even at $30 per car for a whole season, that's not a lot of money to pay to have access to the beach for the season for a whole family. So that's a piece that I think needs some real discussion, because what would that lead to as far as crowding? I haven't been up to the beach for a long time during the day, so I don't really know how crowded it is already.
I think during the week it's not terrible until, work gets out and families come for the evening, or, weekends it gets a little crazy, depending on.
Just wouldn't want it to get to a point where a local resident can't find a place to park because we fill it up with.
Well, we've run into that situation without this,
Right.
We often have Deering and
Because of your
Hagar.
campgrounds? Your campgrounds want to go spend the day on a weekend, they pay the fee and they go in, so it does fill up. There's just not enough room to put everybody in there.
Yeah, it's not a giant parking lot for sure.
And then they start parking beside the road, and then it becomes a
Yeah,
nightmare
really
for the
crowded over
PD, and there's people that launch their boats and get ugly over it.
The question I have is on the fees, is that there's been, it was a warrant article this year to give money to redo the engineering study for the boat. And the question was brought up is increasing some of the fees. And $10 for a season pass to go to the park and use it, even $20 a boat for a resident, that's pretty reasonable compared to a lot of places you go around the state or go, anywhere to try and get in. I'm not looking to put an undue burden on anybody as far as the fees, but, you have to also sustain what you have.
Well,
And put some money in a coffer, that you can have this money to use to do this for repairs and so forth. It
Well,
doesn't pay the salaries, but it goes to,
we tried that and it didn't get voted in.
I know it didn't get voted in, but I'm saying this is a way, part of the fees, and that's what was brought up, is how come the fees don't increase to help offset? You'll have money to go do some of this.
But we
But I
don't.
think what she's saying is there was a special, you have to open a revenue fund.
And that didn't
So
go.
if we have the
Yeah.
increase of
mean-
fees now, it goes into the general fund, but if something was to pass at town
That's what we
meeting.
tried to do on the ballot this past time, and it didn't get voted in.
Well, it's
Yeah.
something to look at further, prepare now for further down the future, is
Did
what
it
I'm
get,
saying.
I'm sorry, I don't remember. Did
I
it
don't-
get to the ballot?
No, this,
Oh,
the-
right.
this,
Yeah, that's
this
right, too.
board,
That's
these
right, too.
guys,
The selectmen
this board
chose
here
not to put it
decided
on.
not to put it on.
Yeah, I
It
didn't
didn't
know
go on
that.
the
That's
ballot.
right too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's okay.
No, because I know it didn't go, but I think it's something to shoot for, maybe to look at.
What are you saying, to increase
To
the fees at the
increase the
same
residents?
team?
Fees,
time?
And at the same time, and then.
So it'd have to be a warrant article crafted to open the
For
account
next-
and also increase the fees.
Yeah, so next year, that's what I'm saying.
I believe we
Next
can
year, start
increase the
planning.
fees with a public hearing here, though, if that's where you want to start.
That might be
Well,
the way to look at it, and then
then-
go with the.
And then redirect your revenue
Back to the
stream into
drawing board
the
for
into the
everybody.
warrant article.
31.99.
So you can pay for this, and that's, that was brought up, there was several people that, came forth with that. And that way,
Yeah.
the rest of the
Yep.
taxpayers might be a little more amicable towards doing that.
Now, have seniors always been 60 plus?
Yeah.
As far as I've been on the board,
So a
yeah.
lot of these young people, these young seniors,
Watch it.
Wow.
taking advantage.
Yeah, we don't know if this is gonna cause an influx of more people at the park or not. I mean, track it this year and, if you,
Just continue.
yeah, we could always revert back to,
Jack, are you suggesting we ought to take a look at the,
The fee structure, I
The fee
mean,
structure for residents.
$5, I mean, the residents, it's $10 per car, for a season pass, that's pretty cheap.
that's one of the benefits of being a resident.
Well, it's one of the benefits, but, and then you look down, you're charging beach access for non-residents $5 a day. I mean, it doesn't track, you know, what I'm saying, non-resident probably should be paying what the $10 per car, you know,
Per
for
day?
somebody per day. I mean, you go to a state park, go to Sunapee, I mean, you're gonna pay, yeah, you're gonna pay more than that, you're gonna pay per person in the car.
Right, yeah.
And I'm saying, that's how they generate a certain amount of revenue to maintain the park and you know, to get certain things, and that's, you know, and I'm not saying that, you know, we should go crazy with it, but I'm saying the thing is, you know, you want repairs down, like I said, down the road, we've gotta look at this for some way to have a revenue stream and have, do the warrant article to turn around and save that money to go for use back to the park and not go into the general fund, all of it, and,
It could work in the reverse too, though, and we raise it too much, then people may be disinterested.
I don't know,
in
it's
coming.
the old adage, if you build it, they'll come, and I think, you know, you have people from around the corner, Colvin's Cottages, or whatever they call it now, and they come in there, and I've been at the, there, and watched them flock, and this isn't an afternoon during a weekday, and they're taking Connecticut vehicles, was one of a whole crew of them, they had 4 boats, and, you know, 5 cars, and jet skis, you know, 2 jet skis to a trailer, and, I mean, they were, in there like crazy, and I'm saying, I don't think that that's gonna, and they're staying up around the corner at the cottage.
Yeah, if somebody's
Or
here
the
for a
campground,
week
some of them at the
or
campgrounds,
something,
and I
that
think
probably
that-
won't be as much of a deterrent, but for those coming in, you know, from Henniker or surrounding towns to use the area, it might be a deterrent, you know. That's fine.
I don't know how many, you know.
Oh.
Do you know what the state charges at Clough?
It's per person, I think.
It's
Yeah.
per
Yeah,
person
it's
per
like
car, I think
$4
it's,
per person, and then,
7 for an adult,
yeah,
yeah,
couple dollars for a kid.
Right.
depends on the facility
Yeah.
too, some of
Yeah.
them, they've got more, offer more, so they have more, like,
Hmm?
So it was free for me last night.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for doing something.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think, I'll just throw not the beach out, but I mean, you used to go to the drive-ins for carload, and it's no longer that anymore. It's per person.
yeah.
And then you pay a minimal fee for the car, and then you pay per person in the vehicle.
Yeah, like I said, the state parks, I know, you go to any of
Yeah.
the state, I go to Sunapee, Hampton, you know, any of those places, and, they hit you per person.
Mm.
Hampton is just a car.
What's that?
I said Hampton is a car,
Yeah,
but all the other ones.
yeah, all the other ones,
Yeah.
go to Sunapee, Hampton's, yeah, by the Calum, you go to, yeah, but they charge you a bigger rate than you'd pay at Sunapee, if you add it up, when you figure it out. They have more to offer, you go to Wallace Sands, I mean, their fee structure is a little higher, but you go to, you know,
so do you propose we take this back to the board, reschedule everything and come back again?
I guess I would be, you know, very frank with you, the $30 per car season pass for non-residents, I would have a hard time accepting that,
Okay,
because if you think of the number of people, we're talking Goffstown, we're talking all the way up to Bernardville, and all the surrounding towns, it could overwhelm. And what would we really make out of it? I mean, let's just say we sold just 50 of those passes. That alone would take up a lot of parking space on the weekends.
How does a season pass, if I buy a season pass and I come to the gate and it's full? Too bad?
yeah.
yep.
Okay. No, I just didn't, I haven't been in years, so.
I mean, looking, you know, Goffstown, we threw them on there because we were doing, you know, pretty much everybody
Yeah.
in town, but they have their Glen Lake, they have
Yeah, that's
several
limited.
public pools in the
Mhm.
area,
Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't anticipate a huge amount of people coming from Goffstown. I know, I might be surprised, but they do have a boat launch, an open access boat launch over
Yeah.
there.
But
You know,
I
so-
laugh at the days, you know, people would say that, and I look at the days that they used to flood Daniels Lake. I mean, and that's not open anymore, and you
Right.
still have that issue.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm sure that, you know,
If you're
Darn.
against the season pass for, you know, we weren't sure how you'd feel about that anyways, but
I think it also opens up a can of worms like Manchester, you know what I'm saying?
well, that's why we limited it to just
I
abutting
understand
towns.
that, but it's like discrimination against them too. I don't know if we'd end up having a problem with that.
You'd have to go up whole
I mean,
state
we've
though.
had people
Yeah,
coming in.
non-residents.
Sure,
Yeah.
and they're
Quite a
subject
few
to the, they're
I
subject to
know.
the other fees.
I remember way back when I did some kids.
Going on with what Jack said, several years ago, and I'm going back several years ago, Chase Park was self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Paid for itself.
Back in the days when they had the
Never
concession
took any
stand.
tax money at all.
John, I don't know how that would have worked, because
No.
if the law would require it, unless there was
Well,
a
I
warrant.
understand, that's why I said, I'm going back quite a few years, but it was
Back in the days
all
of
a
the concession
self-sufficient.
stand and stuff.
When
too.
you said-
But I think that what you're saying is, I mean, the town always raised money for Chase Park.
No,
I know.
not back in the '70s and '80s.
We could be self-sufficient if we had our funds come back to us.
I mean, I don't think you could ever get to that point again.
We're close.
Yeah, we are very
Yeah,
close,
very close.
very close.
I mean, if you look at the non-residents, $5 per car per day that's pretty cheap.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cheap.
That's
That's
a
what I'm
place
saying.
where
That's
you
really
can
cheap.
get
That should
some
be-
revenue.
You could
and
go per
not
person,
earn any
non-resident.
revenue,
It should be per
residents.
person, or
$30 per boat, no,
still pretty cheap.
Yeah.
That's
it's
not
cheap,
cheap.
but I don't know if you want to go
Yeah.
any higher.
Most
with
other
it.
places are free, so if they're
Well-
willing to pay,
Yeah,
We must have something on offer.
but,
I mean, you go to the coast, you're gonna pay $30 to launch a boat, $25 to launch a boat down to Hampton at the state facility, the state pier. I mean,
but
it's,
there are some of the state parks that are free.
yeah, if you come in and pay to go in there, you go to El Coya, you can use theirs, but you gotta pay to go in. I mean, so they're not free. Any of the ones that are run like by the parks are not free, you gotta pay. It was very, it seems like there used to be a free boat ramp at Chase Park,
Yeah, outside the gate.
outside the fence, and that's gone. I mean,
Right.
'cause I know I used to launch my boat in there all the time, because the gate was closed, I'd go in at night or during the time when the gate was closed, there wasn't somebody there, so I'd go in there.
that was a big area of discussion a few years ago.
Yeah.
With somebody, a local resident who was angry about seeing that closed off.
But I think.
There's something about, we talked about paying individually, there's something I think going way back in the donation of Chase Park to the town, that we can't charge admissions, and that's why we charge parking fees.
Yeah,
Right.
Right.
So I don't know if that
so
also
it'd have to go by
applies,
count.
also applies to non-residents, or if we would be able to charge non-residents an individual fee, or whether we would still have to go by
The
car.
carload can be by how many people. Your carload can be by how many people in the car. You're not, it's a carload.
Right.
From 1 to 3 is this many per car, from 5 to 6 people in the car is this many.
That's right.
It's per car.
Yeah, I mean, that's getting complicated.
Just saying.
Yeah.
So that would be something to check out, because
Yeah.
you certainly could increase your revenue a lot if you were charging non-residents by the individual rather than by the car.
Great.
I guess we would look for guidance from you guys then as to what you'd be looking for.
Like the same fee that Clough State Park charges, that kind of fee for.
I mean, I might look at Sunapee and
Yeah, because
Sunapee and Clough.
Clough, I don't know if
Those
they
are
have-
probably the
they
two
have any
closest.
facilities
Sunapee's
there.
more than Clough.
Yeah.
What's what?
I think Sunapee
It's
is more than
they've got a
Clough.
boat ramp there.
Okay. I'm just saying, if you look at the
They've
two,
got concession stand, they've got playgrounds.
We have looked at it.
So I think if you go to
last
Senate-
year.
Greenfield?
State Park, you
Greenfield.
get a fee, I don't know if they charge extra if you bring your boat with you.
don't have a
Can't
boat.
remember. I've been in there and I can't remember.
I don't know.
If you looked at like Greenfield, they're probably all online now, Clough, Greenfield,
Yeah, we did
Sunapee.
State parks,
some
so-
research.
Yeah, if you look at the
last
state
year.
park fee
They
schedule,
all
it
been
probably would
seen
give you a little
close
bit
to
of,
It's all
see what
on
they
there.
have to
They're ready
offer.
For certain things, and what they have to offer.
But if the purpose of it is to raise revenue, I think that's an area to look
Yep,
at,
non-residents.
because that wouldn't impact the park with crowds that the season beach pass might.
And that's fine. I mean, our reason for doing this was because we had a senior veteran inquiry in
Mhm.
Resident or non-resident?
non-resident.
Non.
Non-resident.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. And
Yeah.
I think it's good that the whole thing is being looked at.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know when the last time it was changed. When it
Proposed
was,
a change since I've been on the board, so within the last 6 years, but it was voted down to raise the funds.
Well, it was a long time ago. I don't know what this board's thoughts are, even on the residence pass. It's a good deal at $10.
I'm not looking at the residents, I was just looking more at the
Yeah,
non-residents.
non-residents, right.
I like the idea of the veterans, I think that's a great thing, regardless
Yeah, it is.
of where they live, but the non-resident, I think that's where tends to fill up when our residents can't go in there,
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
so.
are we willing to still give a reduction to senior non-residents?
A senior is a senior is a senior. That's how I feel.
And
Don't look at me like that.
I'm not looking at you, I'm just saying that.
Well, a non-resident is a non-resident. We're not paying
That's true.
taxes.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
from
so I like
where.
That's true. I mean, that's a tough call.
Mhm.
It is there primarily for the use of the townspeople.
Right.
Anything beyond that should be a revenue stream.
if we're gonna go away and come back, I wanna know what we can do to fix it for you, so that we don't have to.
What do other people feel about the non-resident veterans fees, veterans or seniors?
Water one on the veterans, I think that's, I think this part here, what you're talking about, the very bottom, it says veterans, non-residents.
The non-residents are what, 10, is that what you're thinking?
Well, I
No,
think we've
I'm
been
just
asked to
thinking,
go and.
right now, they have
find out.
lowered the amount for a senior or a
Veteran,
veteran
and I think that's
Right.
fine,
from
I think
another
that's,
community,
I think that's fine,
even if they're out of town.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, if you
Fixed
come to the
income.
you go to, you know, you're a senior, you go to a hotel, you go out of town, and this, you're gonna get a senior discount. You're a veteran, they're gonna give you a veteran. And I don't have a problem with that, if they're,
But
It's a
weren't
day
you
pass.
talking about increasing that?
I'm not talking about the seniors, that's not
Just the non-resident beach and boat
it's a
access.
non-resident,
Yeah.
that's just for the day.
I understand, but weren't you talking about increasing this?
Yeah, the standard beach access,
The standard
Right,
beach and boat.
Possibly to 10.
yeah.
So you're still decreasing it if you went to 5. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I think we'd have to
Well,
increase
yeah,
one
but I'm saying, I
and at
don't
the
see
same
them
time
giving,
still.
I'm not against that. If you're gonna
Yeah.
raise the, yeah, so give them
Okay.
half
Yeah,
of what it is.
right.
Right.
So,
Still
Yeah.
giving
One
them a
goes up, but the other one
decrease,
still
but
has to go up incrementally.
Yeah, yeah.
that's
Right.
right, increment, you know, I mean, the same thing, you know, you're looking at a resident, $10 for a beach season pass is reason, I mean, that's
That's a good deal.
that's more than a good
I
deal.
mean, I
That's a-
don't think
that's a
it'd be
steal in a bag.
unreasonable to look at that.
Yeah.
That's,
I mean,
So you wanna, across the board, do an increase
yeah,
I'm just saying for my,
I think that it
for
would,
non-resident or,
and I think at
and
that
or
point,
resident? Okay, that's the gist that I got too.
yeah, I shouldn't be the one talking on this because I'm getting in free. But
Well,
Me
are
too.
we consider, do we
For
consider
tonight.
Change
charging
that.
senior residents a fee then?
what's that?
If we're increasing everybody else, do we consider implementing a senior fee for residents? Or do you leave the car and boat free for resident seniors?
We can certainly do fund pass free.
Yeah,
And then they're subject to whatever the increased fee is?
Mm-hmm.
and again, like the others, you know, go up increment, you know, whatever one is, the half of the other.
I'm not sure where that stands. What's being proposed? I've lost track of what's being proposed here. You're saying if you increase the beach fee, let's just throw out 15 instead of 10.
Mhm.
Now, then we go to the boat pass would stay the same.
No,
No, you'd have to increase that
go
too.
up, increase it to 30.
That'd be
Are we doing resident
the
increases?
regular and the non-resident.
As if we're talking.
Yeah.
But the 30 is a senior, is a season pass
Well,
Right.
road access for non-resident can go up
for the boat, whereas the
That's per day.
access for the non-resident.
per day.
Right.
This one's a season.
I know the feeling, don't worry about it. Comes back. Um,
I think that's very reasonable.
And what about the seniors? I'm gonna stay out of this, but,
Well, the senior residents still get one car free, I mean,
And one vote.
and one boat free. But if they want additional cars, then they would pay,
the same additional fee that anybody else would.
yes.
Yeah,
Makes
so
sense.
they'd be subject to the
It
$2 each additional car and the $30 boat fee.
Any other suggestions?
Yep.
Have we given you enough to go back and work with?
Sure.
No,
Or you
I'm
lot.
We
She
can,
looks
I'm
like-
totally confused.
asking
looks-
you
yeah.
if we can.
She looks totally confused.
Yeah, I mean,
we can increase prices, that's not a hard thing to do. I mean, just pencil things in,
we're
but
trying to be courteous and thoughtful of town residents.
yeah.
And, you know, the beach season pass for non-residents, we kind of threw that in there thinking
Mhm.
maybe it would go, but that's not gonna make or break anything.
Is there anyone on the board, just so they don't go away and restructure this and then come back and have us say, is there anybody on the board who would really be opposed if they came back with a proposal to increase the residence fee?
I think even being a resident, you're getting it, you know, at $15, you say 50, even $20 for the season pass,
Season.
you're getting a good deal. I mean,
Four
you go
months
up there,
worth of swimming.
Mm.
you go up there any day of the week, in the summertime when school's out, and that place is packed on a great day, you know, a nice sunny day. So, I mean, I don't think there's gonna be, I don't think there'd be an issue with it. If you break it down, say, let's say, what's the school vacation? Say roughly, what, 80-something days, 80 days? Take that out and divide that by that amount. You're gonna figure how much it is a day to go. That's cheap.
Yeah, I don't think we're opposed to that. But then the non-residents, you'd like us to look at surrounding towns and see what they do.
State park.
Look at what the state park does,
Okay.
and if it's able to.
Okay, so we meet again May 9th. We'd like to
do this before.
potentially, we could
Yeah.
circulate it.
No, you'll also be looking to come in at the same time, won't you, to hire your staff soon?
Probably the week after.
Do you want to come in together? Save your trip.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we can implement this for the coming season.
That might be a problem because I think you're going to have a public hearing, which requires 14 days. I believe we have to have a public hearing. We have to do it at the transfer station.
Yeah, yeah.
So if we get it taken care of over the next week or two, is that enough?
Sure.
Why don't you just work out the schedule with Naomi? Because she knows what we need to do and what schedule you have to stay on in order to have a public
Okay.
hearing. and
Yeah,
this and-
why don't we can work out dates.
You
But
can just
the-
work it out.
The employment stuff, I can.
You can come in anytime.
Okay,
Because you're going to plan on opening the weekend of the 27,
yeah. Memorial Day
28,
weekend.
29. Okay.
No difference.
All right, we'll stay in touch to work that out.
Okay. Okay, we'll do some research and come back.
Thank you for doing this.
Thanks, kids. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next on our agenda is looking at bids for reclaiming and paving. Well, more than that, it's the paving, reclaiming, which is the grinding up process, right?
Mhm.
The roads, crushing, And truck chassis and plow, you'll have, that's separate, that's on the new vehicle?
Yes,
Yeah.
2 separate bids though. So, got to work sending these out right after town vote. Last Monday, Naomi and I opened bids with all of them. Unfortunately, not everything was apples to apples, so I wanted to come in last week and get things rolling here, but I had to make sure that everything was, equal. And then we had a culvert catastrophe last Monday, so that took some of my time too.
Where was that?
Colby Road.
I've noticed that twice. I've driven over it now.
Didn't get
I keep forgetting it's
I
out.
didn't get the telephone. We did the recording.
The first time it happened, the school bus is running in the afternoon, and the second time it happened is they're running in the morning. So lots of people are very excited.
That's an understatement.
Yeah.
So that'll be an ongoing project. But anyway, for the bids, I guess I hopefully I stapled them all in the same order, reclaim and start with. I was very pleasantly surprised with most of the bids, how low they came in. It's good as far as the road work goes, and means we can do a little more road work, and means we can get a terrific plow truck out of the deal. So out of the 5 bids, 3 of them come out of road reconstruction money, reclaiming, paving, and gravel crushing, and the other 2 bids come out of the approved warrant article for the plow truck. So we'll start with the reclaiming bids. We got 6 bids for asphalt reclaiming. They varied anywhere from 95 cents a square yard to 62 cents a square yard.
Top one,
Top one.
reclaiming.
Reclaiming.
I was thinking that was a, never mind.
I just wrote it very short. I do have a graph. I could show you one that broke down what each person bid, but the high bid was 95 cents and the low bid was 62 cents a square yard. When they figure that up, it's just how they do it. They measure the road and they figure out the square yardage. And
Who was the highest bid?
the highest bid was Vermont Road Works. And the lowest bid was R&D Paving, who we've used before, and they do a terrific job, and so therefore, I would like to propose to you guys to accept R&D to do our asphalt reclaiming this year. 14,178 square yards. Roughly, they go an extra foot or something, might be a couple extra square yards, but that's what I measured out. And so that'd come out $8,790.36. It never comes out that exact, because they might decide to go another 10 feet or stop an extra 10 feet.
8,790?
Yeah.
Do you want to do one bid at a time?
Yeah, we'll do it. And somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept the bid for reclaiming from R&D Paving for 62 cents a square
I'll
yard.
second it.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The next one is asphalt paving bids. We got 8 bids for paving. Fortunately for me, this wasn't as cut and dry. I sent out 2, in that bid I sent out 2 requirements for pricing. One for machine paving, one for hand paving. No real way to know how much hand paving we're gonna do until it's done, because when you elevate a road, you gotta carry that driveway until it matches. And you don't really know that until you get there. If you don't send out a bid, to ask for a price per ton, they could charge you $300 a ton if the low machine paving guy were to get it, and you'd be stuck with it. So, I put in the hand paving in there, but it's hard to come up with a number for that. I have a total number of tons for machine paving that we're looking to do, and it's 3,774 tons of pavement we're looking to put out of the paver.
3,700 and what?
74. I don't know, do 100 ton or so, maybe a hand paving, if that. Some included hand paving in their price per ton. Some charge a different amount. So that makes it pretty difficult when you don't have an exact tonnage. The low bid machine paving contractor was R&D Paving for $60 a ton. Close second was Mitchell Sand and Gravel. They're out of down by Swansea, Winchester. They were $60.25, like 25 cents a ton more. But they said that it's going to be all inclusive. Hand paving's going to also be $60.25 a ton. R&D is going to charge $115 a ton. And out of all the contractors, out of 8 of them, 3 were all inclusive. The other 5 had separate prices per ton, and some were clear up to $140 a ton for hand paving. So as far as hand paving goes, R&D was right there, but there were some that had it all inclusive. I was going to recommend R&D. We have used them before. They do a great job. They're lowest bidder on the reclaiming. One contractor will do it all. But I'm sure there'll be some argument about hand paving because it's out of the whole 3,774 ton, the difference would be about $950 between the two contractors for machine paving. And I'm sure we'll do at least that much worth of hand paving, probably a couple grand worth. But
Do you have any experience with Mitchell?
no,
Problem is,
other than meeting them and the nice people, I don't. I believe it's first year paving. They've owned a hot top plant and sold hot top for a few years now. My understanding is
head down on,
got a big state job and getting into paving. So
head down on Route 10, so almost to the Winchester line.
I am Mitchell. You're Mitchell? Okay.
The issue is, coming that distance with hot top has to be maintained at a certain temperature. Can it be done that way to meet the specification? You know, that's a long haul.
Are you asking me, or? Well,
That's a long haul.
yeah, I can do it. I can haul from here to Burlington. We have Camaro tops. Some of them are heated bodies. It's never an issue. We use an additive called Evotherm, state approved Evotherm.
Is it approved in this state or is it approved in
It's approved in
Vermont?
this state, Vermont, and in Massachusetts.
You can meet the state specs?
I meet the state spec. I'm a state accredited lab. State approved in New Hampshire, Vermont, and Massachusetts. And it is all inclusive. We have brand new pavers, state-of-the-art cat pavers, state-of-the-art trucks. I have a paving crew that's got over 100 years' experience together. Obviously.
Did you, I didn't write down the amount, but if that 3774 times 60,
$226,440.
and then the difference at the 60.25 would be about $950.
$943.50.
Now, if you look at, you just tossed out a number, 100 ton for hand paving, and how much was the price of that?
Well, the difference would be $55. So 55 times 100 is 5,500. I think that's about what we did last year. Don't have exact numbers for that, but we paved a long ways into driveways on Deerhaven, as you guys know.
So roughly speaking, you're probably talking about 6,500, including the 945 and the 5,500.
I mean, if you took 100 ton, because that's an even number to figure, I guess, there was $5,500 difference from, you take 60 off 115, that's $55 a ton extra they're charging for their hot top to hand pave. So it'd be 54.75, more than what these guys are charging.
When I bid this as a lump sum.
Right.
I bid the reclaiming everything, knowing that I was gonna go all inclusive with the handwork. And my reclaiming price was, you got ready for you there?
65, I think, wasn't it?
Was I 65 cents?
Yeah.
So, I bid the reclaiming 3 cents higher than the R&D, but it's taken out of the mix in my hand price. Because I don't charge a hand price.
I'm not sure what you're saying. You're saying you were looking at a whole package when you
I
were saying,
bid the whole package, correct.
rather than separating it.
Yeah, I didn't.
Some had all-inclusive one price, some had two prices, some guys bid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 prices. They charge a different price per ton for each road. Them companies I was talking about, because every number was far higher than R&D or Mitchell, so. It's really between those two. Everyone else is high enough that I don't feel it's worth the argument. The next closest was GMI, 61.90, so it's almost another $2 a ton. So,
Are you making a specific recommendation to us?
well, I was gonna recommend R&D because I've worked with them. I guess that was the handwork's so close that we could pay an extra couple grand with them. I'm not gonna lie about it. I don't know what the handwork's gonna be. I don't know how you'd ever measure that up. I've asked around. People have been doing this. They said there's no real way. You just gotta put a bid price out or somebody could get you, you know, when the time comes to match in driveways. I hope not do near the driveway paving I did last year, but,
You gotta do what you gotta do.
you gotta do what you gotta do, you know, you can't build somebody's driveway up and then not let them get out of there.
You might end up 5 feet back in the driveway.
Right,
You never
and
know.
we did that last year. I carried way in. I got some flack about it, but that's all right.
Questions or comments?
And some of those driveways were like 60 feet across the apron. I don't think none of them are on Mountain Road or like that, so.
No.
So you're saying that was an unusual amount?
It seemed it to me. One was forever across the front of it, but we give them back what they had, you know. They were happy.
Yeah. Sure he is.
They got a good road too, and one that was well overdue, so. That's what we're here to do, is make the residents happy, so. Most of them. Don't have no qualms about anybody, so. Like I said to start, this is kind of a tough one.
Well, our history has been taking the recommendation of the Director of Public Works, so. that's
R&D's
why-
work has been impeccable. Last year, that was the first year of me being in charge, and it was impeccable. The year before that I was here, they'd done it, and they did a good job. They did everything for Tim that year, shoulders and grading and everything, and they always did a good job on no matter what they did. It was reclaiming or paving or hand paving or shoulders or fine grading. They always did a fine job for us. So I just know them. I would recommend going with them, but it is close.
I'm a Hamilton resident. I got a state-approved contract
Yeah.
worth $6
I'm a
million.
little uncomfortable because we don't have the other contractors here.
Well, the other contractor was in the other town that I lost, but they didn't show up, so that's why I came to this one. Because I'm not doing this again. I shouldn't have to go to a town meeting to justify my company, but I do. So I'm gonna go to everyone that I bid now.
Yeah, well, my question to you was just, well, to Benji really was, had he had any experience with your company?
Yeah, no, he's right. He doesn't have any experience with us. I mean, my paving crew is made up of a bunch of guys from other companies that have come on board with us. We've been making hot mix for 10 years now. We supply people like Vermont Road Works, R&D, GMI.
What's your pleasure, folks?
Nothing against Mitchell paving, but I think we know, we follow the recommendation of the highway superintendent. He feels comfortable with that, and that's, I think, the way we should go.
You want to put that into a motion?
Make a motion that we accept the road agents or the highway superintendent's recommendation for paving bid for R&D paving for $60 a ton.
And 125 for,
115's handwork.
115 for handwork.
115 for handwork. Is anybody, would anybody like to second that motion?
I'll second.
Wants to give you some time to use your calculator?
No, I'm good.
Is there any other discussion? And all those in favor?
Aye.
What was the vote? 4, 5?
Aye.
Opposed?
Can I ask if that was the breakdown of the?
Yep.
And then, yep, can I have that?
Well, not this one, but I'll send you one.
Yeah.
I got your email. Yep,
Right now.
right, it should be in the bid packet. Yep.
There's nothing else we can do, right? So,
No. Sorry.
so next year, what do you want me to do? Just try to get the
You'll have to talk to
R&D,
him.
even though it'd be more expensive again. I mean, do I just give up and tell everybody else just because you guys like R&D not to bid here?
I don't think it's as clear as that, but, maybe you could call Benji and explain up front what you're.
I worked here for 15 years, I guess, and I've seen Pike, Advanced, United, R&D. I've seen them ones anyway paving this town, so I don't know if we always go with one, I suppose. It's a tough thing. The next bid's gonna be a similar story. I guess that's the sucky thing about being in my boots, or somebody's gonna be mad. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Well, I mean,
You never know who's gonna jack up the price.
thank you.
So, moving right along, gravel crushing bids, we got 3 bids. They range from 260, I put out, so back up, I put out a bid for 11,000 tons. 4,500 tons of 1-inch minus. 4,500 tons of 1.5 inch. And then 1,000 tons of 1.5 inch stone and 1,000 tons of, I think it was 3-inch stone. So 11,000 tons total. All 3 that bid it, same price for everything. Nobody categorized it, which I was surprised. They came in at 260, 276, and 368 per ton. 368, I think, self-explanatory. Isn't worth discussing, I don't believe. The 260 and 276. 260 someone, again, I have zero knowledge of personally. And obviously the other one's Bigfoot Crushing, has crushed for us for years, and he probably tell you stories all night of the things that he's helped us in the past, but that, I suppose, is beside the point tonight. You know, I know other road agents have put out, a spec for 1.5 inch, boy, we could really use some 3-inch stone this year in our road job. You'd always switch the screens, just make it, never charge any extra. That Hyundai broke down once, we used his loader for a while. I mean, it doesn't matter in this bid, but he's helped the town out, and he's a taxpayer.
What about, where's your stone supply come from for the crushing?
Well,
You have it
usually
local?
Mount William.
Pardon me?
Mount William usually. But made some fabulous stone last year for us. It was really clean, and so we use ours until it runs out. we can't afford to crush enough. That's another thing that comes out of road reconstruction is gravel crushing. So I try not to do a whole heck of a lot because I want to make the roads, paved roads smooth for everybody. But
The reason I asked that is just you're hiring the company to come in with their equipment and do the crushing,
yes.
not to supply the material.
Right, yes, I'm sorry, yep, they're gonna crush our material, our bank run material, and we have a stockpile of stuff that we haul in off the road when I think it's salvageable, we'll put it in this pile. You know, pavement, or if we get into a nest of rocks somewhere, we'll kinda try to recycle them, because sooner or later we're gonna be out of dirt, and then we'll have to buy everything. You know, they hit a vein of sand this year, crushing, and stopped and went around it. Could have fed that through the crusher, that'd have been easy money, but he didn't. Again, it's one of them things, I don't know anything bad about custom crushing either, I'm not here to bash on anyone. Bigfoot is a taxpayer, and I was gonna recommend him because I know his work, I've worked with him. It's about $1,760 difference between the two contractors at 11,000 tons. And again, that's about all I have basis off from, so probably someone else will be angry at me again here in a minute, but, I mean, we can certainly give the low guy chance. Bigfoot's is still in my pit right at the moment, so if we were to go a little bit, I'd have to make sure that's okay till his plant's out of there, because he still owes me about 10 grand worth of crushing from last year, but he made me some big piles right off, then had somewhere else, and I said, don't, I got enough for all of this year, I don't, come back whenever. So he left his plant and his big loader in my pit all winter, so fine by me. And I don't care when he comes back to finish as long as it's this year, because I have more than enough. They put up a heck of a pile, 1.5 inches for me, so I have enough to do my dirt road projects this summer. So I'm just trying to stay a year ahead of it. The other thing I'm trying to do too is get piles of everything built up at my shop pit, so next year I can spend money and go to the East Road pit. Because the problem I ran into last year was they had the 1.5 inches crushed at the town shed pit. They had the 3-inch crushed at the East Road pit. Now you got one loader. So you put your base gravel down in the morning, it comes time to top it, you got to time out and drive load across, not across town, but back to the shop. So if I had everything in one pit, then I can just work out of that pit. But East Road needs some more work. I got to get some more area excavated out for stockpiles and such. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity just to add to the piles I got at the shed for this year.
Related to this?
Yes, sir. I'm Jeff Andrews of Custom Crushing with a low bidder, and we've been providing bids to the town going back 5, 6, 7 years. We've been in business for over 30 years. We crush for Goffstown and several other towns. Historically, Chris Bolton used to get the bids in his prices 7, 8, 9 years ago for $3.15, $3 a ton. With competition, your prices have come down from that now to $2.60, $2.67. In past years, back in 2013, even though Bigfoot and TJ Bolton are both semi-related or work out of the same town, you've consistently given the bid to the low bidder. Either again, even if it was between two parties within town. But, so we're more than qualified. It's not a very big job, and we keep trying to get the bid. And we're out in 2012 we were third bidder, but it's only 10, 15 cents, which is the same margin this year. So I would hope that you would award it to us. Thank you.
Where's your company based at, sir?
We're out of Meredith, New Hampshire.
What type of plant do you run? Closed plant?
What's that?
Do you run a closed plant?
Yeah, it's closed circuit. We made state spec product anywhere we go. We did the first Home Depot in New Hampshire, which is the old St. J Trucking, in Manchester. We did the first super Walmart in Tilton for Coleman Construction, and then the one in Plymouth for T-Bow Corp.
this,
This one.
the crushing is something that you stockpile.
Yep.
And then you move it yourself.
Yep.
So it's a little different than the paving where you've got one company doing the total job, so to speak, on a road.
Right.
Here,
Yeah, most of the gravel we make out of our pit, most of it, but used for the dirt roads, try to maintain something great on it. Last year, we had a really good product and I used our stuff under Mount William Pond, tried to save some money. I spent more on that than what was planned, but I was able to use our product, so the price of the job didn't go up. But normally, try to put it on the dirt roads. Having run grader in another town, I don't think anybody has to crush gravel on their roads like we do, and I'd like to keep it. Makes a better grader operating, don't it, John?
Yes, it does.
So.
you gotta hear from somebody here.
Custom crushing comes out to 28.6 and Bigfoot comes out to 33.60. Anybody want any numbers?
What was the price for Bigfoot?
33.60. 30,360. 1760.
I believe if you were to run the numbers on that, the extra $1,760 divided by 260 a ton, that would give you the same money, that would give you about another 500 tons worth of material to use on your roads.
Well, it's just sitting here in silence. I'll toss out a motion, and if somebody wants to second it, I would say in this case, since it is a separate piece from the actual paving, and that we go with a low bid custom crushing. Made and seconded. Any other input? Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
Okay, so we've got 4 aye and 1 abstention.
When are you expecting to start crushing?
I'll have to talk to the gentleman who got the contract here. We'll have to get together and talk. That works for you?
Yeah, I'll talk with you. We did a little bit of the town of Plymouth, and we're gonna do that. Hopefully schedule that, and then
Yeah.
come right to you if
Yep.
we can, so,
Okay,
appreciate it.
no problem.
Thank you.
Yep.
So now we've got the plow truck bids.
Stop truck bids, I think they're a little more cut and dry, but could be wrong. My opinion, the truck bids made my life easy because absolutely all three that bid, Western Star, Mac, and Kenworth, I got bids from them, so I didn't bother going after any of the cheaper ones. They were absolutely top-notch trucks. All three of them. I could have really cared less who got it. So with that said, with the trade, Western Star came in the cheapest. Kenworth came in at $118,700. Mac came in at $116,625, and Western Star came in at $105,285.
Is Western Star a company name, or is that the truck name? I've never heard
It's a
of it.
company.
What truck manufacturer?
Truck
Truck
manufacturer.
manufacturer like Kenworth and Mac.
Okay, so there is a truck, Western Star is a type of
Yes,
truck.
Oh,
yes.
yes.
They're probably they're probably right there. If you drive from here to the west coast, them, Kenworth, and probably in Iowa, you get Freightliner. Probably the top trucks you see on the road for road tractors. And they've been making, low bed trucks and stuff like that for a long time, but they haven't gotten into the plow truck stuff until recent. I guess I don't really know why, because there isn't much difference, plow truck to dump truck, but, Mack was the one forever, and they're up there in price now. Volvo and Mack, the same company, they're high enough, they didn't even bid one, so. And we got a fleet of Volvos, they were a little bit, it just kinda seems to run in cycles like that. So, Western Star was 105, 285. I called Western Star guy and the Kenworth guy and asked what they offered for any additional warranties, because the truck did come in less than what I anticipated. I was pleasantly surprised about it. And you can get an additional, if we were to go with that truck, so I'm probably kind of getting ahead of myself, but we could get an additional 5-year coverage on the engine, 5-year coverage on the Allison transmission, 5-year coverage on the carriers, basically run parts of the rear ends, for $4,046. $4,046, which would bring the 105 to 109, 331. Still puts it cheaper than anybody else. So everybody offers a million warranties, and you got to pick. I mean, you can go up there and have $20,000 worth of warranties.
When you say 5 additional years, that's on top of what?
Well, it's 5 years, so everybody has their basic warranty. I think the cab and chassis already has 3 years on it, and usually the motor has a 1 year.
Motor's 2-year unlimited.
2-year unlimited.
2-year unlimited, 5-year 100,000 federal emissions.
The Cummins was another just under 1,500, and the Packard was, I got that in there, it was just under $4,000 for the Packard warranty. So I didn't bother taking those, putting them in the Kenworth price, because even with all these, it's still under the base price of that, so.
So this would give 5 years on the engine, the transmission, and the cab and chassis?
No, the carriers.
Which carriers?
Yeah.
The axles,
Axle.
Well, it's
rear axles.
Rear axle.
cab and chassis has its own, I think it's 3 year, told me. You can go additional on that, but shoo, there's a lot of
That's
money.
really expensive. We looked at it.
The Western Star, is that DD13?
Yep, it would be so I had a minimum set of specs wrote out, and then I talked with each salesman so they could tell me what they had to offer. I don't buy trucks every day, there's always new things coming out. And, so I had a minimum horsepower requirement and all that they all had to meet, and a specific suspension. And so they all bid the same suspension, Hendrickson spring suspension, the same, gear ratios, all that. So the only difference really is the emblem on the hood, because they all got, I kind of like a Cummins or a Detroit, which one, this is a Detroit, the Kenworth had been Cummins. That's the other thing, that's a Packard motor, the 118, Cummins was another 4250 for the 400 and 4750 for the 4 1/4. Which I love that 4 1/4 we have. I probably would have asked to get that if they'd have been low bid. So with all those things said, it's they threw in extras on it. Like I said, I didn't know about everything that's out there. It's gonna have a heated windshield in it, and I mean everything you could imagine for winter applications. No problem. We love the Kenworth we have. We love the Mack that we have, the 10-wheeler Mack that we have. Not wrong with trading. And
This would be a 10-wheeler.
this will be a short 10-wheeler. It's gonna have a 12-foot dump body on it. We have one with a 14 and one that had a 14 now has a 13. And one with a 12 already, and boy, it's a terrific truck. It holds enough more to make a big difference. We've never had a weight-related breakdown with that truck. You can't overload it to break the wheels or break the springs. And it goes unbelievable, don't it, John? You drove it when Lean was ill. It was a good replacement for a 6-wheeler. We always want to keep a couple of our big 10-wheelers, but this is kind of replacing a 6-wheeler, and it's a good replacement to still turn around in a reasonable.
So, but would hold more than a typical 6-wheeler?
Yeah, because the body's 2 feet longer, and you
2
put
feet.
taller sideboards on it if you choose.
Rick, you're a
Probably, what,
resident
third
expert.
more?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. A couple questions.
Sure.
4000 series Allison?
Yeah, I thought it was 4,500.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. And the engine warranty with Detroit, does that carry emissions, after treatment coverage as well?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, I just want to make sure, because that's going to be the problem child. It's not going to be the chassis, it's not going to be the cab, it's going to be the after treatment.
Yeah.
So that's all I work on every day.
I'm sure you did right.
Great
Well, it
pamphlet.
gave me so many different options here. The after treatment system, it says.
Mhm.
Okay. 5 year and 7 year.
Big numbers at the top was a cabin chassis, district, never mind them.
That's, yeah. This is the kind of warranty you want to see, definitely. Yeah.
Thought it looked like a decent one, I mean, I'm not,
Yeah, no, it's decent. I know, I'm pretty sure Cummins only offers a 5-year on theirs. That's all I've ever seen. I'm sure that with given option of a 7-year that somebody would take it, and I've never seen that.
he gave me the number over email, and that, I didn't get any breakdown on the Cummins, but I mean,
Right.
I guess Cummins and Detroit are reputable enough that the salesman says it's 5-year warranty. It's
Right.
not that new child on the block.
For the money difference, it's about $2,600 to go to a 7-year. Again, my own opinion would be to go for the 7-year, not the 5-year. And the reason I say that is it's just, that number, that $2,600 get eaten up real quick if we had a after treatment fatality or an engine fatality, real quick.
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue that, I just was trying not to overdo it, there's money, certainly money enough there, it'd be,
Yeah,
about double, right?
yeah, another $2,700. It's like 50. Was it 54.20?
5175,
Right.
difference of 2725.
So on the 7-year warranty, what would the extended warranty be? The total?
It's for the engine.
Yeah.
Oh, but for the whole thing, for the
Yeah.
7 years, 5175.
So your warranty would end up being $6,771 versus your $4,046.
Yeah. Overall total.
And then that's the overall total for 7 years on the motor.
Right.
The Allison was 786. The Carriers were 810.
You're still lower at 112,056.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then that one would be 50.
Yours one is still $4,000 high.
Yeah.
And again, the reason I started just the truck for the warranties, because everyone offers warranties. So, I mean, gonna see where it came in and see what we could afford for warranties. Because the transmission, I expected it had to be an Allison transmission, so everyone's the same transmission,
Yeah.
same rear ends, and merit orders, everything. So I would expect that
So it's only
anybody
7
else
on
would
the engine.
have the
The new
same
number.
cost on the Allison because it's
Correct.
Allison.
You entertain a motion, Tom?
Sure.
I'll move that we move forward with the Western Star chassis with a 7-year engine warranty and 5-year transmission, 5-year carrier warranty for the total of $112,056.
Second, anybody?
Second.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain, even though I made the motion.
I wonder why.
Mm.
Has it got that to do with it?
Yeah, no, nothing to do with that. What are you talking about?
Okay.
No, it was one more piece.
Power-
Now that you
You
got
guys
it.
said 116,102, right?
One, no,
116,052. Wasn't that what you came up with?
112,056.
What she said.
Yeah. 100
$112,000.
$56. Because you added the 2725 to the 109,331.
With a 7-year warranty.
It's a 7-year engine,
Right,
5-year.
And five.
So your warranty is
109. Oh, yeah.
Hit the right button.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Gotcha.
Body and plow equipment.
All right, we'll go to that. That one I was hoping would be easier, and it was, but it wasn't, so. Two companies that are very well known, probably does just about every plow truck around here bid, so I didn't go for a third. Everybody uses either HP Fairfield or Tenco. We have 10 Tenco bodies. So HP Fairfield came in at $71,541, and Tenco came in at $72,918, a difference of $1,377. Again, this bid was much lower than what I thought, so it was very good. Everybody sharpened their pencils wicked. So,
Either one, both stainless steel?
yeah. So what they are is they're Hardox bodies made out of, supposed to be made out of complete Hardox. Hardox 100% virgin steel. The minute it's manufactured, it's primed until it's used. There's two spots on our dump bodies, our mild steel dump bodies that rust. One's the ribs on the side, the other's a corner post in the back where your tail lights and stuff go. Hardox bodies don't have any ribs, they're a smooth side. And the corner posts, they start making out of stainless. They're painted so they don't look stainless, but they're stainless. So they don't rust either. But we do have some stainless bodies. I'll probably try to get some more in the future, but this Hardox is a wicked rugged body. I mean, you can, the stainless bodies have Hardox floors in them. This is all Hardox. The floor, the front panel, the sides, the tailgate, everything's 1/4 inch. Hardox for the Tenco bodies, 3/16 Hardox on the Fairfield. It's a hardened, abrasive, resistant steel. So the bids weren't exactly the same, pretty close. Like I said, there's $1,377 difference in the bids for the bodies. But in all fairness, the Tenco body.
While you're looking, Benji, it's the same style body, right?
Same style, so it's still a side tipping body, same thing, it's just Hardox steel instead of stainless or mild steel. It's the same exact body that we have. It's probably about 68% of their sales in side dump bodies for the Tenco company, they said. A lot of people are going to them because they're just such a rugged body. They last so much longer than the mild steel. I asked the difference between them and stainless, and they haven't been out long enough for one to rot away to see the comparison. Obviously, stainless doesn't rot, we know that, but the underneath does, and that's still all made out of the same steel that the Hardox bodies are. But Tenco bid, so I got the spec sheet from Tenco and Fairfield. The biggest difference is Tenco's is 1/4 inch Hardox, Fairfield's is 3/16 Hardox. It's about a $750 upgrade to go to 1/4 inch, so that's half of your $1,300. And then I thought that he was going to put it on the side as a an extra, but they got what they call Tenco locks. It's like a kind of a quick attach to hook your plow up. There's these ears and then this lock mechanism. Never used one, but he said that they have let people try them and nobody's ever given them back. So that was $450, and it ended up being there was another $2,800 in the Tenco bid because he bid the same controller that we got in the Kenworth, which I'm not sure if I really like it. It's double the money of the Muncie or the Easy Spread that I probably looked to be getting. Fairfield did an Easy Spread. Henniker has them, they love them, so probably go with that. But so my recommendation was going to be Tenco because I have 10 bodies. It's one chain, one set of sprockets, one set of bearings, one shaft is going to fit 11 trucks. And it's almost the same money, and if I made them upgrade the 1/4 inch and, you know, put all the gadgets that Tenco put in there, it'd be more money anyway.
Did you spec it out a 1/4 inch?
I didn't expect that because I knew that it come 1/4 inch. But before I bought one of these in Deering, I had an airflow side dump body that Fairfield had sold them that folded up on them, and it was 20 grand to fix it or 30 grand to buy a new body. No, 24 grand to buy a new body at the time. So I bought a new body instead of fixing an old one. And so I knew it was 1/4 inch. I didn't know they offered anything different until it's kind of a new thing, especially with stainless steel corner posts, and I spec'd it for one company, I guess, the other one that comes standard that way. I said, if you're gonna bid, you gotta bid at apples to this one. I don't want a mild steel body, they don't last.
Rick, any comments?
They bid the same hydraulic pump, the same, one's Everest. Everest is terrific plow gear, and that's what the body was gonna be from Fairfield was Everest. I don't know a thing about them, their plows are great. And Tenco's are too, so they're almost apples to apples, other than there's about $2,800 less goodies they put in, which is.
I have very little experience with hard ox, but it's definitely a rugged material. There is no doubt about that.
So half the difference in price between the Tenco and Fairfield is the upgrade into a 1/4 inch.
Yeah, it's half the price.
That's half the difference there. And then what was the other piece that was?
They call it Tenco locks. It's just a new fangled plow frame, and I wanted to see it before I buy it. We might even not get that. It's easier for one man to hook up in the dark, I guess. I don't know a thing about it. I told him to put it on the side. He just added it in because, and the Muncie controller over the other one's $850 difference, which they both could get either one, so I mean that's not fair to throw that in there. The 1/4 inch adds 700, and a little over 700, and that Tenco lock's $495. And they also threw in carbides on the wing, which I probably won't get. Carbides are $750 a wing. We run a different style cutting edge on our wing, so it'll probably be $750 taken off that, but I wanted to leave that on there because we gotta have the money to put a cutting edge of some sort. I was gonna have them put the cutting edge that I use. If they don't have it, I'll just let them run carbide. There's nothing wrong with carbide, we just run a different cutting edge. Works well and they haven't changed it. So.
Seeing as that you already have Tenco bodies.
That's the biggest thing.
You're gonna have to start stocking other parts to be able to get other chains and.
I would think about any other town would be jealous of my mechanics when it comes to fixing a body. I don't think anyone has that many in one body. I'd be pretty proud to be able to say that.
And plus it's a regular body, you know, 1/4 inch.
Reduced parts inventory is gonna be huge.
Yeah, so I think, I make a motion that take the bid for the Tenco body.
What price of?
That price is $72,918. Save us in the long run, parts stockage and,
Is there a second?
regular body.
Okay. John seconded. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5?
That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Enough torture?
Yeah, I can call him.
15 to 6.
You going? Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is.
Appreciate it, everyone. So I'm good to get this stuff ordered, start work, right? I think the build date on the truck is about the end of June, 1st of July. So we should have it back and either at the body company. So we should have it back by October as a cloud truck.
Great.
That'd be awesome.
With a facility to store it in.
I hope so.
Okay, we've got minutes from 4/10/17. Anybody have anything on first page? I did not.
I looked at it, I didn't bring it with me, but no, I didn't have instructions.
Second page, the large paragraph in the middle of a few things. About a third of the way down that paragraph. In discussions with some Henniker employees, I just inserted the word "something that was not thought about" was the radiant heat causes. I just added the word "something" because it didn't make sense after employees. And then about 2/3 of the way down, it says 100-pound floor load. I think it should say 100-pound per square foot.
Square inch.
Per square.
I think it was square foot.
Square foot, yeah, they do it per square inch.
And then where it says 5,000 tank, I added the word gallon. Anybody have anything else on page 2? Page 3. Just a clarification under administrative report, first paragraph, this second sentence. This printout now includes the, and I just inserted wage amounts for non-union employees. I just inserted the word wage. Anything else on page 3? Page 4, I didn't have anything. Anybody? Page 5, anyone? I crossed out the word "to" maybe I shouldn't because it was somebody's letter.
No, if it was written in bracket, no.
But you should hear our opinions. It says you should to hear our opinions. I put a cross through it, changing it not.
Okay.
Anybody else on page 5? Page 6. Move to approve the minutes of April 10th as amended.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Manifest. I move to order the treasurer to sign payroll and accounts payable checks dated April 20th, 2017, including in the following manifests. Payroll, $48,475.65. That's the weekly payroll for the week ending 4/13/17. Forest Fire payroll manifest of $128.76. And accounts payable of $32,719.11 for a total $81,323.52. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Gotcha.
Administrative report?
I'll go through my list first. I got a couple of things off the list. I think I emailed you guys earlier or last week.
Yep.
The doors, I think, Tom, I gave you a couple of names. I don't know if you've had it. Okay. There's a couple of contractors that I've kind of handed it over to Tom to meet with them with regards to the doors. Local. So we'll be moving with that. We don't have anything for tonight. The same with the gazebo. I only have 2 people that I've shared it with. I'm trying to come up with a third one.
One of them's the same one we had before.
The same 2.
Same two.
I'm just waiting to try to find a third, but I'll try to do my best to come up with a third one, because typically we're supposed to have 3,
Right.
according to the purchasing policy.
We
So,
had, Rick, do you remember when we met over there, we had like 5 contractors?
That was 5, I think, yeah.
And only 2 bid on the gazebo.
Right,
Out of the 5 that we had,
right.
the town hall that evening.
Do you think though that that was because of, maybe having other jobs, maybe they'd be interested now?
Most contractors are busy as all get up. Most contractors right now are busy as all get up.
I could go back. I think I know who a couple of them were.
Yeah.
I can go back from the list I think I gave you guys that
Yep.
was gonna be in attendance. And see if there's, I could float them out to the 2 or 3 of them to see if if we've tried. I mean, we can't stop the process if we've tried and they're busy. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you that I'm gonna get these 2 back. Depends on schedule, so, but we'll work with that. The noise ordinance is gonna have a meeting. Noise ordinance subcommittee is gonna meet on Thursday, 20th, that's this week. 7 o'clock. The locker room renovations, Kurt Lauer did come over here at 10 o'clock on Wednesday, looked at the plans, we took the plans, we went over, and him and I did a walkthrough by ourselves. He put together a real quick draft, but what I'd like to do, instead of bringing it back here as a group, I wanted to talk with both of them first to see if it's even something that, I don't want to waste the 2 chiefs, which is, I would like to run it by them first before coming back here and kind of circling around the water bucket again. So I'd like to do that, and that will come. I did want to remind you, we did post tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, the skateboard park meeting at the middle school library. That's posted just in case there's more than 3 of you come. So that'll be there. I have my schedule for you for this upcoming schedule. That's all that's on the list, but what I'd like to do is jump over to what I sent you, if that's okay.
I would like, to bring a couple of things up about the DPW garage from
Okay.
last week.
Sure.
It seems to me, I mean, I hadn't known, sitting here last week, like what had been discussed prior. So, my first, it seems to me this was your first knowledge of the suppression being eliminated, the fire suppression, is that correct? The board.
The board as a whole.
Yes, the board as a whole.
I knew 2 days earlier,
Yeah, I did.
basically,
Okay.
just because.
So
And I was utterly confused after asking a couple of questions as to what the building size is then.
75 by 150.
What is it?
75 by
Yeah,
150.
well, but it's basically the size that we put on the warrant, it's just a different
Yeah,
configuration.
it's in here, 75 by 150.
So that's like 11,000.
250,
Yeah.
yep.
11,000.
So why doesn't that require, I mean, I know he gave me a breakdown that this side of the building can be 12,000 and this side can be 5. I don't
Before the
understand.
requirement of a fire suppression system.
Right,
Yeah,
and, and
because when I
he put the
asked-
firewall up,
Because of the firewall?
because the firewall changes it.
What he said was that the area that parks the trucks would be 12,000.
12,000,
Could
right.
be up to 12,000.
It's not,
It would require 12,000 to kick in that requirement for site
Suppression.
suppression. And
That makes no sense. Does it?
it's a matter of usage.
yeah.
It's a matter of usage.
Mhm.
That's used. See, without the firewall, it's all considered one space. And so
Okay.
the work area would,
Require 5.
right, 5.
Right.
5 or over for the work area requires fire suppression. The storage area for the trucks, 12,000 or over. But neither one of them meet that criteria. And that's the reason, actually, if the board doesn't mind, I could call on Steve, this is his background.
Well, I can tell you about the codes, but
Yeah, that's all I need.
Yeah, I don't, it has to do with the type of occupancy, which you mentioned, storage and repair, and also the square footage in the construction of the building, et cetera, they all take into consideration. But one of the ways to reduce the requirements is to, when they talk about separation, the wall, it's a certain hourly rating, 1, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 5, whatever the rating is for that wall, that makes it almost two separate buildings, basically. So if it's designed, basically, if it's a 3-hour wall, it's supposed to hold fire from penetrating to the other side for 3 hours, the burn time. So it actually separates it into two separate buildings as far as the code goes.
The other thing concerning that, when I met with Bruce on Saturday, I think it was, before our meeting, and that's the first time I heard about this, and because Jack and I had been on the original committee, he wanted to let us know before he came and presented to the board. But that, two things. First of all, that firewall was not in the original plan. The firewall was an option because we didn't have the money for the fire suppression system. The other thing that I asked was, well, if it goes in later, is that an issue? He said no, because that's one of the last things that would go in anyways. So if the town decided that they wanted that, they have a tentative plan for an above-ground cistern in the back of the building. The generator will be installed, will have the capacity to support the fire suppression system if the town should go with that. And so we have the option of going back to voters and explaining what we're explaining tonight and asking for that if we decide as a board to do that.
So we're talking another $100,000, am I correct?
$180,000 approximately.
Then who, okay, before he came to the board last week, the building was ordered. Isn't that,
No, it's not part of the building.
well, oh, what is it?
Fire suppression.
Oh, I know
No,
fire suppression isn't, but the board hadn't seen the rest of the board hadn't, I hadn't seen the drawing.
Well, at the time when there's been several drawings, and I mean, Steve was one of
I haven't
the
seen them.
original people on the committee. I mean, there was all type of proposed drawings, so this is when they ordered the building, they came up with a drawing. I haven't seen the final one either, and I was one of the original committee.
But shouldn't the board be ordering the building, or giving the approval to order the building?
We had a clerk of the works, and they came up with it, we had a contract.
Was that in his job description?
It's his job description to oversee the contractor.
Yeah, but the board didn't have any knowledge of the fire suppression not being in the building or not.
That has nothing to do with the ordering of the building. The ordering of the that's a subcontractor. That's something that goes in after, like your electrical.
Well, there was a change in the original bond issue, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So
No,
shouldn't that have come before the whole board as a whole?
There's not a change in the bond issue, it's a change in money, that there isn't enough money to do the system at this time because
But
of
that
certain
makes a
cost
change.
overruns. Well, the bond is still the same.
One of the,
Well, I know the money's still
Still
the
the
same,
same,
and
so-
I'm not stupid that way, but what I guess I'm trying to say is the project as a whole has completely changed.
one of the things
By
that we
the-
dealt with, the issue of whether or not we would have plans prepared prior to moving ahead with the bond issue. In the year before, we had asked for, which probably wouldn't have been enough, but something like $40,000, and that was defeated.
Right.
So this turned out to be a design build. Design build means that the design is presented by the contractor, regardless of which contractor. We had in hand, we had presentations from the two top ones we wanted to deal with. The one that we chose, the board chose, worked with an architectural firm that designed the building that was eventually decided on. They tried a number of different things. I wasn't in on those meetings.
No, they did originally they were looking at a structural steel building, and that didn't work, so they ended up going to engineered steel building, which is like a Butler building, if you wanna call it, but it's a metal building. Goes up instead of using like structural steel like you see in building.
So was that brought to the board?
It was bought through the building committee, there's a separate committee on it.
When was the Board of Selectmen ever advised? I mean, because I know I've been sitting out in that audience and I haven't heard any of this.
Well, it's been in the hands of the committee working with the contractor.
If you wanna give me a couple minutes, I think I might be able to help.
Okay.
Would that be okay?
Yeah, Steve, he's been working in the committee that meets regularly.
So my name's Steve Roberts. So the building committee met over the year, what was it, 2016, first 2016 town meeting. The town had not voted for an article, I don't know if it was on the 15, I think it might have been on the 15 warrant,
14, 15.
for engineering and plans, so we had nothing to work with. It was an extreme difficult job, I'm whining a little bit, to come up with a budget number, frankly, for the building, because we didn't have anything to go by. We had a set of 2013 conceptual plans that were drawn up by an architect, which we used as a conceptual idea. That happened to be 80 by 140. One of the things that we found out, just to not go down a rabbit trail, but just so that you know where we're coming from, there was a question of the steel building, would it be 25 feet between beam centers or 20 feet between beam centers? It depends on the manufacturer of the building. So I was the main spokesperson for the committee. And every time I did a public presentation and answered questions, I said, this is a concept. This is the idea that we have, but the final building will or will not look like this because we don't have the money to do plans or anything like that. I said, we don't even know if this is going to be the exact size we use, that 11,200 or 400, whatever it was, square feet, as a kind of a base, that this is what we're looking for, this is what we feel we need. But whoever gets the award to be the design builder will have to make the plans, design, engineer, all that. So the money got approved, and we didn't have, we put out for design build company, we couldn't get anybody to that was willing to do it within the time frame that we needed to be able to start the building for last year, 2016, and have it done before winter. And we couldn't be without the building that we have for the winter. So we immediately put it back out with starting in April of 2017. We thought that if we could get the contractor, get the plans, get the building ordered by December 1st, we would be okay to avoid price increase, and we would be able to do it. Again, we did the best we could, but because of not knowing all the factors, such as the dehumidifier system, everybody that I talked to, I don't know of any other committee members that heard anything about humidity issues. So, that wasn't something that we had planned on in the budget, for example. But, to do the best that could be done with the money that we have, in my opinion, it's important to get the building built. We have made reasonable alternative, which the code allows, for things that nobody could foresee because of the constraints that we had by the taxpayers, which was to not allow us to have the money. We did the best we could to come up with a budget number for the building. But the good news is that can be added on reasonably later on. It's not like, it's going to double the cost just because it's going to get added later.
I guess my concern is, because I went back and I looked at, is that the finance committee, their recommendation was really based on the fire suppression?
We priced at the time, we priced in it enough money to do all that stuff, we thought. One of the things is that now those numbers are 2 years old, and construction has gone up significantly in the last 2 years.
We talked about the per square
So-
foot price, and we had people familiar on the board, we talked about $100 per square foot. And then we went above that, I think we went to 105 in our estimates.
Mhm.
And we based that somewhat on what they had paid for the Henniker building. And thought that would do it. One of the things that Bruce said, and I don't know the details of it, but there were things in place in Henniker that we didn't have in place, so probably the price of the building was probably a little more than $105 per square foot.
Well, again, we had to beg people to help us with the work. Harry Weatherby went over there and did test pits for us for nothing and gave us an engineer's report. I have no idea how much those would cost. But that was quite a gift to the town. And we talked to people who are in that business and got, what we thought was, and I think it was good, but again, it's steel's gone up a lot in the last 2 years. And so, that's where we're at. So we have to do the best we can with what we have.
So when was the earliest, though, that you knew that, or it was
Knew
known
what?
that you weren't gonna be able to have the fire suppression?
Tuesday morning for me. Last Tuesday morning. I was in Ohio. I got a phone call.
Yeah, I knew it Wednesday.
Thursday. I'm sorry. I understand your frustration, but it's been said that this isn't what we, decided we should have. We didn't know what we should have
There were
until
two
the plans
choices.
were
The
done.
way I understand it, there were two choices that it came down to. One leaving off 2 days, so you'd have 4 trucks sitting out. And the other was to postpone the fire suppression system
Mhm.
and put in the firewall so that the building would meet code, and also it would cut the chance of fire in the building. That and the shut-off switches we talked about on all of the vehicles.
You have an option of not getting fire suppression system or putting $500,000 worth of equipment roughly outside.
More than
So
that.
everybody here
$1 million
realizes we're
worth.
gonna
$1 million. I
be-
was looking
You
for
look
4
at-
trucks.
4
This
trucks
board
at
is gonna be held to
$200,000.
What's that?
Well, I would suggest that you go back to the 2015 vote. And maybe I'm a little emotional about this, but I've wasted a lot of time, and I know other board committee members
No,
have too, because somebody else will do it. And it's kind of a problem that we're seeing in volunteers for everything, is people expect somebody else to volunteer. And, that I'm not trying to be, I like to see the town save money. I'm an ultra conservative, but I don't believe in wasting money. And sometimes we waste a lot of money because we don't want to spend a couple dollars and get it right. So, and it wouldn't have been a waste of money to have plans or engineering either, because now we're paying for it now. We just kicked the can down the road basically, but we were basically driving in the dark with no headlights for 2 years.
The size of the building
So-
is virtually the same. What we proposed
Yeah.
was
Yep.
11,200 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And this building is 11,250 feet. So it's shaped different, but it's the same size. The reason for the change there was fitting the vehicles in so that it would be the convenience of not being in the way of each other. This way, there's room for a 6-wheeler and a 10-wheeler in each of the 6 bays that are strictly for vehicle storage. And then those same bays would be used for washing vehicles, because what the material is, but the material that is on the firewall is, it's in our minutes from last week. Basically, it's waterproof. And so those bays can be used for washing the vehicles, And in the original plans, there's a
Pacific wash bay.
The standalone.
yeah, Pacific wash bay, that also, in the earlier plans further down, before the firewall was put in, there was a wash curtain to be pulled around the area when they're being washed. That's gonna be moved up, so it's in the bays where the grader and loader would be parked. No, I'm sorry, on the opposite side of the wall. So it would allow the washing to take place in those bays that are closest to the work area, the ones with the firewall. And then the loader and the grader, as we saw last week, would be parked in the smaller area of the building. But there would never be more than one vehicle broken down blocking another, where in the other configuration, you could have a broken down vehicle that could hold up all the work.
I haven't seen the final plans, but from what I've been told and you know, and I've asked questions and stuff too, I think that this is a really good practical building for the town. We didn't, our goal originally wasn't something fancy, wasn't, you know, high tech, so to speak, but was good, practical, useful, user-friendly, something that we could, again, a good value for the money. And I think that's what we're seeing as the single slope roof. Is that still in the plan?
Yes.
Yes.
That was for
That has a
snow,
bump in it on that.
but that was for snow, so that, you know, we wouldn't have to worry about,
Right.
you know, snow sliding down in front of overhead doors and stuff. You know, by doing that, it gets it, you know, to the back of the building and out of the way, so to speak. You know, so that, and also ceiling height, because you don't need a huge height in the whole building, but you need a place where you can put truck bodies up and stuff like that. So those were some of the very practical things, and I think that might actually help. I don't know that if it saves money on the cost of the building, but it sure doesn't add to it. So, you know, I think that the bottom line is that it's a good building. I would like to someday see a suppression system in there. One of the problems is it's very expensive because there's no municipal water out there. And so, you know, there may be some less expensive alternatives to putting the storage facility for the water and stuff in the future, but it certainly isn't going to add a huge amount of money because if we're not doing it now. So, hope that helps. Anything else?
Yeah. Thanks, Steve.
Where are we here?
She was still on her.
Still on
Miniature water.
No, that's all right. No, that's fine. I finished that. I was just gonna go back. I sent you guys some emails, one with copiers and two with an audit report, and three, an email with regard to the door for Maureen's office. We had a Department of Labor inspection and they don't like the swinging door. They want a more rigid door that locks so that an irate person can't just go behind the counter. So with that being said, they looked at, I think she went and looked at Goffstown and took pictures and talked with Frank Campana and Greg Elwood. I guess Frank's gonna make the door, and Greg, I think you guys saw, is gonna work with Frank, and Greg has quoted the total for the labor and material at $660, which puts it below the $1,000. So I'd like to move on it and get it done sooner than later, but I would need a motion for the $660.
I'll make a motion. Spend the $660.
Yeah, I would also ask that, I'm sorry I didn't do it out of the capital reserve for government building and maintenance.
For a door to the town clerk's and tax collector's office.
Second.
Out of the
Government building?
Government building and maintenance
government
fund.
building and maintenance fund.
Um,
Now.
John, anything on it? Yep. Nobody? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We can move on to the copiers. I think I sent you, copier at the fire department is up this year, and the copiers for the town office is not. We had a company from Concord come in and give us a price for, copiers for the fire department, the town office upstairs and downstairs, meaning the selectmen's office and the downstairs media room. Just for grins, we threw out there what it would cost to do a, Wendy has, I think she didn't this year, last year's budget, she had put in a printer to be able to copy and scan building permits, septic plans and everything to go digital. So he brought back a price for 3 copiers and the fire department. I guess I'll throw this out there. Right now, the fire department pays $101.42 a month. This new lease for 60 months would go to $85.92 a month. And then currently the town has paid $529 for 2. I'm looking to expand to 3 for $504.58. So
Another copier.
we're getting a whole nother copier with the ability to scan the big plans, to be able to, it's not just for the building department, conservation could use them, or other ones that do the big plans, land use. You guys all saw what it looks like. It's got that, and it's got the screen there, the monitor that you'll be able to scan. I mean, Wendy's very ecstatic about it because in time she'd like to go automated. I think she's explained that before. And, I mean, it's less money on both sides for what we had budgeted.
Plus one.
Yeah,
Plus you get an extra one, so.
Right, plus one.
yeah, and an extra copy.
Is there any termination of contract with the other
Actually,
terms?
I believe I added that in there. They're gonna pay out the termination fee,
Oh,
so
Better deal.
I had 1 year left.
okay.
So, I mean, I'd like to get this going, because right now the fire station is out, so he pays per hour and whatever for if he has a breakdown. He hasn't had one yet, but
What do they also come in with the software needed and update all their computers, or is that gonna be up
no,
to
it's gonna, well, they'll come in with the software, but to hook it to Wendy's machine will be,
Spalding?
it's Spalding. It's all part of the managed care service
Okay.
that they come bi-weekly to us anyway.
Okay.
We'll leave the total amount for this.
Well, we'd be entering into the lease with NEOS for the fire, 2 town office and an assessing. Do you want me to continue? Jan's gonna move it.
I was gonna say, I make a motion that we.
Jan already did.
Oh, she
Jan
did.
already moved
Oh,
it.
she moved it, okay, I didn't, yeah,
And I would just add this, if you don't mind, to the budget, to the minutes, so that you know.
okay.
Was your second?
Second.
I was gonna say move for a second.
Yeah.
Any other questions, Alexis?
So that's motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have one more I sent you, that came from Vashon Kluke and Company. Scanned it and, I honestly read it real quickly. I didn't go through it to you. I'm just gonna say it, because it's looking for the chairman's signature on it. Jan may be more familiar than I am with it, but,
Well, all I read in it was that it's the same hourly rate as before.
Okay.
I think up to 18,000.
okay.
Somewhere in there. I think it might be in the.
This is for the, yearly.
Yes.
Mhm.
Our fee as a service will be our standard hourly rate plus out-of-pocket, such as a report, reproduction, word processing, postage, travel, copies, and will approximate 18,000. And they came today to start. I think it's our engagement letter, isn't it?
It is,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we need a motion giving,
The chair
The chair.
the authority to.
signed the engagement letter.
I'll make the motion that we have the chair sign the agreement with Vashon, Kolke and Company PC, Certified Public Accountants.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
To go along with that.
Sure.
They gave me these, you usually give a questionnaire. I
Okay.
guess, and these are the questions that, they want us to review and to fill them in, and I'm going to tell you like what the first question is, what are the greatest areas for risk of fraud, and what has the entity done to help to prevent and detect fraud? One of the areas, I mean, I have an idea that, I think one of the areas that, and I know in other years it hasn't passed, but is a scale at the transfer station. I don't know, you being
I don't know, I
probably
don't
more.
think,
I think-
scale for what? There's several types of scales.
Well, you did the one you drive your truck on and
5,000 pound
everything
scale.
else.
What, like a platform scale, like you
Yeah.
would at a
Yeah.
gravel
drive on scale.
drive-on scale, that's a lot.
No, it's a 4-foot square.
You're gonna drive a vehicle on
No.
that? No, that's what I thought she was just talking about.
Sure.
Oh,
Well, you kind of scale you're talking about, is that's what I mean, a platform scale that you drive on, or?
No.
well, that was
Complete
one that
vehicle.
was explained to me that you could do. I think Hillsborough has that one. I don't know what,
Those were those no scale.
You're looking at 50,000-60,000.
Oh, plus.
Yeah.
The plus you'd
plus,
have,
yeah.
plus if
Plus
you,
you gotta have a weighmaster
plus if you
license.
do that, you have to be certified as a weighmaster for the state, and
Yeah.
he's the only one that can run that
well,
scale.
then what were you talking about, a different type?
Yeah, we just got a
Scale.
4-foot, 5,000 pound platform scale.
Yeah, that they get the way the
So we're weighing
TV.
TVs and whatnot on, that's all they got down there.
No?
One of the things that we discussed, probably a couple of years ago, when Tim was here, he brought this up, because the demo, sometimes it's guesswork,
Hmm.
you know. You charge so much for a pickup load, that's what you do, and
Yeah,
if somebody
all it
comes in
is.
with and so he talked about a scale. We didn't move on it as a board. Because one thing is, there's also been a lot of discussion about reconfiguration of the area
Mhm.
down there to make it safer.
Yeah.
So if we ever do, we want to put in that sort of a scale, we want to make sure it goes where we want it to go.
Mhm.
And so if there's other reconfiguration needed, it's done at the same time. So that's one of the reasons of adding the price, that we never moved on and went beyond preliminary discussion.
The other, there's ways that you can do that. They got weight, like scales built into the trucks. You could see if the companies would actually, logging industry does it, gravel industry does it, regular trucking does it, that they have an onboard system that'll tell you what the weight is. From the minute you put the load on, what it is empty and what it is when the load goes on, so you'll know what the difference is.
About portable scales, like, you know, like
You
your
have
truck
to,
is stuck.
again, you have to have somebody
Certification.
certify them yearly. You have to have certified personnel, and nobody else can use them except that person.
But would it be
Yeah,
a less
it's-
expensive alternative?
No, they're not, and I used to carry them, and they're not, and they're not.
You got a safety issue too.
You got a safety issue that, you get the likelihood of somebody, A, getting run over in the process, B, you're picking up something that they're gonna end up in a workman's comp situation,
Those things are heavy.
Even the thinner ones, the Haney's, are not as heavy, but
They're still awkward.
they're still awkward. And, then you gotta, maintain them, and those take more maintenance than a platform scale. Because, you get a driver on it, and they're not as bad as they used to, but he jerks the brakes on you, or spins on them,
Mhm.
and you're out.
Calibration at least.
Your calibration, if you do a repair or you replace it, you're looking at a considerable amount of money,
I didn't know.
10,000.
That was just one area that I thought of. I don't know if you guys can think of anything.
Some of these, I think, are cut and dried. You mind if I just read?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Now, is this something they want done right away?
No, we can look at it.
I can scan it and send it to you all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd probably be better to give some.
And I can scan and send you how we answered last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of them are cut and
Okay.
dried. Do you have knowledge of any actual suspected or alleged fraud affecting you?
Right.
Well, obviously, if we did, we'd do something about it.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
One for you, two for me.
it's a pretty
One for you,
clear
two for
cut.
me.
Most of them are like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be
The
happy to
rest of
scan them
that's the only
and,
one
yeah.
that really-
I can scan it and send it, and like I said with the other,
With last year,
Yeah.
the year before, whatever it was.
scan, send with. And what I just handed down for Ricky is, intent to cut that came in last minute. Looks like somebody stepped on it, but,
Looks like it already started.
With the source I
Looks
would
like, yeah.
doubt it at all.
It looks like it's already been out on the
Yeah.
landing.
Yeah, exactly.
pages, sorry. And then Tom, while we're talking, would you sign that? You swore her in, please, so I don't forget. I do have one more letter, that I was sent, and I'd asked to read it aloud if you have no issue. It just says, last week I resigned from the Town of Weare Police Department. I recently underwent a medical procedure, and I'm unable to return to full duty as a police officer under the Family Medical Leave Guidelines. This was one of the saddest decisions I've had to make in my lifetime. I cannot express how much I've enjoyed working for the town of Weare. I have a tremendous amount of respect for the citizens of Weare and enjoyed all our conversations. While working in the town, I've made lifelong friends and will continue to make trips to Weare to visit. I'd like to thank the citizens of Weare, and I'll sincerely miss working with the town. Best regards, Scott Knox.
I'll
So,
tell you, he'll be sorely missed.
Absolutely.
Innocent. He was
Yeah. I spoke to him when he came in to get his stuff, and he asked if he could write something that I could read. And I said that's entirely up to him. And he shipped it off, and just, he will be missed. I
Absolutely.
mean, the personality and the work that was
Yep.
done.
Be a
He
hard
was-
slot
he
to
was
fill.
good. Yep.
So I just he asked me if I would read it, so I just figured I would end with that. That's all I have.
Public comment, everyone?
Oh, thank you.
Rick McDowell, Sugar Hill, Tom, Jack, Laurie, myself, Steve, and a few more that I can't think off the top of my head. We're on that building committee for the highway garage. And I think the main reason we got that approved, the way we did for the dollars we were asking for, was the fact that within a couple of months prior to that, prior to us starting that project, as a committee, Hopkinton and Henniker's garages burnt to the ground and lost everything. We pushed it to get that in, to get that to pass at the ballot box. We pushed the suppression system. Not having it, it might bite us in the butt down the road when we try and get another big project in. Just something to think about. Yeah, I feel kind of bad that I was in on that. Now somebody asked me, well, why? I had nothing to do with it. Why didn't the rest of us all get called back in? I don't think that the committee was ever dissolved. Was it? I don't remember that it was. You're saying yes or no?
Yeah, it was. It was dissolved.
It was dissolved?
Yes, it was.
Oh, all right. I don't think anybody ever told me, but all right, whatever. Second of all, I witnessed an accident, the storm before the big one we had on Center Road. It's where the guardrail ends. If you come out of the safety complex and go towards 77, the grader was winging there, and he got hooked onto it, and he kept tugging and tugging and tugging. If you look at it now, it ripped out a couple of the posts. The horizontal is all mangled. I don't know if anybody ever.
I think that's state.
No, that was the town
Is that
grader.
town, I mean, state.
Town
That's
maintained in the winter.
It does.
Yeah, and the state does in the
Summer
Does it
summer.
in the summer,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't know it was the other way.
And I don't know if you can answer this or not, but my road, I've been in, will be 33 years in August, I'll be there. And every winter it's been marked this time of the year for 6 tons. There's a lot of other roads that were all marked as well, but this year, I can't remember last year, this year has not been reduced to 6 ton. I don't know why that happened, and nothing's changed. Was that just an oversight, or?
It was. It was
I'm
signed
sure.
up on all the roads.
I would
Yeah.
assume so.
I would assume it was an
Oh, look at that,
oversight.
Somebody
Right.
ripped the sign down.
What's,
No, it never went up, Jack.
Didn't?
Craig,
Okay.
what road?
Sugar South,
Sugar Cell.
that's not posted. It's been posted for the 32 years I've been here. I won't start 33 to August.
I'd have to say it was an oversight.
You know, there's not a lot of traffic since the equipment deal is not there, but that road's been, I think, paved like 3 times since I've been there. And there's a problem with the water running down, because it comes down on the west side of the road. You're going south, it goes on the west side of the road, and that's the house, the side I sit on. The water runs right in and into my driveway. There's a big ravine in there where the water's running. Benji's gonna have to do something with that. I can't get out with the Lincoln. It bottoms out. I can just barely get out with the Tahoe. So something's gotta be done with that. It's been paved 3 times. Couple inches at a time, and 6 inches or so that they've put down, that they've raised that road up and never did a thing to the end of my driveway. I don't know if you're the proper people, or should I go right to Benji? Well, I mean,
They only can.
okay.
We have had other instances where we have corrected that. I know when Tim was
You can
here-
see, if you just look, you can see whether it's just washing out every time it rains, it comes down the hot top, and that's the low spot, and it
Yeah.
just runs in and,
I mean, I think you'll find that Benji will.
yeah, I'm just,
We had a person on East Road when they were paving that, who was concerned that that was going to happen.
yeah,
So we went over and he wanted the selectmen to be involved, so I went with.
okay.
Tim.
I don't wanna make any bad feelings, I just want to look at basically for guidance, how do I handle it?
What I'm saying is, it's good, because we went and we looked at it, and
Okay,
Tim gave him a solution. Apparently it worked out fine. He
Okay.
had the same concern, and that is that with the road raised, with his driveway then be in such a position, bottoming out with cars.
and every year it gets worse. If you look at it, you can see. So, those are my basic concerns. I don't know if the guy on the new grader reported it. It was the new grader, it was town.
I saw the damage there, I didn't know it was that great.
Well, it was a fluke. I wasn't following nothing. I was just coming uptown to go to the post office that morning. The sun was out, but we had that anticipated that 2-foot storm, that last big 2-foot storm, and they were winging that. You do that. But he hooked onto it, and he couldn't see it. He hooked onto it. I don't think he realized what he had hooked on. He thought it might have been ice or something. He kept tugging and tugging, and you can see what the result was, but
I do have a response. About the road being posted. He said he's posted it, but he's posted it from Crossroad
down.
because of the fact of, is there tractor trailers that live at the old farm and
Yeah, the
Knoxland?
Quonset hut, there's a guy that parks there. His-
Right,
his
and
fish
so
are
he
freight.
said
He's
because
got
of
2
that
feet
gentleman and Mr. Knox has a heavy engine building business that the
Brian,
trucks.
yeah, but that's,
So that's
there's
why.
not a lot of
It's-
weight there.
So I'm just saying, it's just posted from there down and not at
But
the
those-
beginning for that
Those grain
reason.
trailers, they're light, they're aluminum.
Yeah, but they're over 6 ton, empty.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but what I'm saying is, he never goes in or out of the loaded, he's always empty. Because he goes up to Blue Seal, he loads and he does the delivery, he comes back home, and then the next morning he goes and loads.
Yeah, but it's
So
still
he's-
the gross vehicle weight empty. Over
Yeah, but it's not like the logging trucks that were going up there.
True.
Right?
Yeah, so that was, he didn't post it, he posted it beyond
Okay,
Crossroad for
because
those
it's usually
reasons.
up at the end of the road, right at Ilsley's when you pull in.
Oh, well, he posted it at the end for the 2 that go in Crossroad.
Well, those are good trucking companies. That guy is very, very conscious of his name. He goes up about 3:30, 4 o'clock every morning. And
Okay.
I suppose the pickup's a lot louder going up the road. That's
Yeah.
true. Thank you.
Yep,
Thanks, Greg.
Laura Davis. I was chair of the building committee for the highway department, and I was chair of the finance committee when this all was going on. I worked very closely with Steve. We took into consideration that we didn't have public water. We took into consideration that we would have to build a septic system at the time. Tim was able to do that. We took into consideration the gradient heat. Had we built or ordered the materials in a more timely fashion, we would not be where we are now. I am angry because I spent a lot of time in this town politicking to get this building built with the suppression system. That was the #1 reason this building has never been built. If you go back through the history, and Tom knows this, I pulled all the public comments on this. People wanted a suppression system. I'm hearing, oh, we don't want to leave $500,000 of trucks outside. Well, heck, now we can just burn them all up on one side. If you think you're going to go back and ask the taxpayers for more money for your precious suppression system, that's not going to happen, because the taxpayers are now going to take a good look at what comes forward and question the reliability. The people who are in charge of minding the store of this town are the Board of Selectmen. Yes, you put people on committees, and some of us are very dedicated at doing our jobs, and we take it as if it were a real live job. Not everybody does. But your job as the BOS is to ride herd and make sure things are taken care of in an efficient, costly fashion manner. Instead, you left this to drag for a little over a year and a half. And because of that, the costs have gotten out of control. Now, I know for a fact, because I checked, I heard last week that they aren't sure how the fire started in Henniker. Go check and see how that fire was paid for by the insurance company. It was paid for as if it was done by the truck. So while we can say it might have been something else, go look at how the insurance company paid for it, because they have to have a reason when they go in and put a claim. But more importantly, the only person who has raised questions is Jan. There should have been constant information coming forward. Just like when we were on that committee, we came forward to the Board of Selectmen and gave you updates every month. Tom sat on that meeting, and he would come as a selectman, but I, as chair of that committee, would discuss at the Board of Selectmen's meetings so that you always knew, even though the board has changed, what the status was. That did not happen. This should not have happened. The trust is broken. And I, for one, am not afraid to tell the taxpayers they're getting screwed on this. And I will go forward anytime I hear somebody wants to build something, I will be waving flags of do not trust it, because you have proven that this is not trustworthy. Now I hear that we are looking at contracts for the police chief. Currently, we have a part-time police chief. Several people in public comment for the past 3 weeks have raised questions as to what's going on with the police chief. I have heard out of Durham that he is looking for a full-time police job. I would certainly think that would be something that would be discussed in public. The contract possibly not, as to what you're doing with it. We should know if that's the direction you're heading into, because we are the people that are footing the bill for it. And certainly the taxpayers have, in the past year, before, when he got his contract as a part-time police chief, there was supposed to be a public committee weighing in on this, and out of nowhere, the Board of Selectmen, threw in a group, signed a contract, and said, oh, by the way, we don't need you, all in one night. We were called in to come in and have a final meeting, and you said, oh, we were just out of a non-public, and he's now going to be a part-time police chief. His contract is up in June. By now, you should be putting out feelers for what it would cost to have a full-time chief. And it should not be resting with my police chief telling you what he wants. You should be in the driver's seat finding out what it costs if anybody's interested and figuring that out. And you haven't done that. That is irresponsible. I do not want my police chief telling my Board of Selectmen what he wants. We've already seen what that cost us in the contract we've got with him right now.
That's not what's going on, Laura. I don't want to get into a discussion with it because we did do it in our public, but that's not what's going on.
I'm just telling you what I'm hearing. And I've had it from people who work in Durham. And all I'm saying is I want to see a lot more transparency with this situation. But more importantly, I am very disappointed, angry, and upset with what has happened with this town garage. Very upset. And the taxpayers are not going to be happy about it. And it has been handled badly straight down the line. And going forward, you have lost a lot of credibility.
Thank you. Anything under correspondence? How about other business?
I got one thing. Transfer station. 3-4 years ago maybe. Had Primex come in, go all through that station, and I believe there was a 6 to 7 page report handed in of things that needed to be corrected down there. And I don't believe anything has ever been done.
How long ago, Joe?
Oh, it was either 3 or 4 years ago, the Primex came in. Walked all over that property up there. Gates need to be put in, you know, stuff needs to be gated off so people can't get hurt. I don't think anything's ever been done.
I know we have had a discussion of the danger of this
Yeah.
foot traffic going this way.
Well, they've corrected that pretty much because they've stopped it, but this guy
No, it
was in
still
there.
goes, I was just up there not long ago, it still goes on
Yeah.
somewhat, but yeah,
This guy was.
the metal dumpsters and stuff like that.
Metal dumpsters all gotta have gates in front of them, where you dump the trash in, it's gotta have a 4-foot gate there so those can fall in. When I was there, I had 2 people fall in there. Luckily, there was garbage in there so they didn't get hurt.
Just bounce on the switch.
But no, I just wondered
Who
what
are you trying
happened
to
to
get
that
rid of?
report. I just wondered what happened to that report and why nothing got accomplished.
There's a couple people I can check with. I mean, it's not ringing a bell. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think it was Phil that came
Yep.
and did it.
I'll have to look at it.
Yeah, it had to do with a joint loss. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was
Yeah.
3 or 4 years ago.
He's been gone for a long time.
Yeah.
Phil. No, not Phil, I'm sorry, I
Phil
was thinking.
St. Cyr?
Phil St.
Yeah,
Cyr is
Phil
still
St.
there.
Cyr's- I was thinking of the other guy. That
Dave
was-
Companion?
No,
Just curious. I mean, you know, there's
yeah, Phil.
towns and Shire comes in and does things like that, probably ought to follow up a little bit.
Pay attention, yeah.
Okay.
So when do they haven't?
Hmm?
So when do they haven't?
I don't know.
Who's the other person who worked on this with on Primex? Anyways, that's what I was thinking. So, I know.
What time is that meeting tomorrow night?
6 o'clock.
I won't be making it. I won't be out of Jaffrey until after 5.
Okay.
And I won't be there. I have an occasion.
Okay.
Anything else on the
Which I
other
know.
business?
Yeah, I'd like a short non-public, please. A and C.
Okay. And I move, anything, Dan?
No.
Okay, and
So we can plug
move
that
to
in?
go into
Let's go.
non-public under RSA 91A3, Roman 2A and C.
Second.
All in favor, aye.